Hello, Tiffin University wrestling fans, and welcome to our preview of the Super Region 2 duels. And we're joined by head coach Joey Simcoe. Coach, how we doing?
Great.
Good deal. Well, these duels, you've got 6 of them this weekend. Very, very busy. 4 of the 6 are ranked in the top 36 in the nation. Talk a little bit about the competition going into this.
Great competition. This is a great event. Really helps us set up for the regional tournament. You know, this is kind of like a lot of these teams, we don't get to see them during the season. So the last, I want to say 6 years, we've stayed to go into this, and it really helps. You know, at least we get a head-to-head with most of the guys, barring somebody being out injured or something like that. You know, it really helps the seeding meeting, helps things go a lot smoother. So really good competition, really good weekend.
Just give folks a rundown of those duels. You've got Newberry at 13, King at 22nd in the nation, Coker at 26th, and then Limestone is 36th in the nation, which you guys are also 36th in the nation. A little bit of a scouting report on any of these teams and anything that any of these individual ranked teams like to do?
Yeah, I mean, we've been wrestling the same coaches, same teams for quite a while. A lot of teams kind of have tendencies. You know, Limestone's just a goers, man. They get in your face, they wrestle. Newberry, they're usually a little slicker. You know, King, they got a really great women's program down there, so they have a freestyle program that they run in the postseason. Those dudes are pretty dangerous, you know, tossing you on your head kind of thing. So, I mean, there's generalities, you know what I mean, but there's also individuals wrestle different. So it's each kid's got his own scouting report.
Let's talk about your team now individually. You have 2 wrestlers ranked in the nation, top 11. Trey Grind at 149 pounds is 9th in the nation, and Nick Mason at 197 pounds is 11th in the nation. Is that where you think they should be, or you think that they could be a little higher?
You know, definitely, I think they both should be a little bit higher. Nick's beaten a lot of really good kids. And I don't know if it's because he's a freshman or what. You know, no one's really showing him the love. But, you know, part of the rankings issue is we're not matching up with certain individuals, right? So, like, we wrestled the Ranger duels. St. Cloud was there, I believe, at 49. Their kid's number 1. We didn't get to wrestle him. You know what I mean? So it's like we're hitting and missing on some dudes, and then we'll beat somebody, and then somebody loses to somebody else. And it's, you know, this all shakes out in the end. This year's been very frustrating with those rankings, just because we're young. So the guys aren't getting a lot of respect as far as that goes. But you know, like we keep saying, just keep proving yourself week in and week out, and eventually they'll take care of themselves.
Hayden Braun's 8th in the nation in falls. Is that another guy that you think should be ranked in that top 10 from an individual standpoint?
Absolutely. Hayden's had a great year. He's a very, very fun wrestler to watch. Does some crazy stuff that you don't think's going to work. You know, kind of like Nick. They both just have this uncanny style. You know, and I don't even know what you call it, really. You know, it's just they just
both
find
seem
a
to
way.
be long, lanky wrestlers.
They are.
That's something a little different. Not, I guess I'm used to seeing myself long, lanky guys that can, you know, reach out and touch you.
Right. Well, like Kevin Chrisman was our 97 last year. You know, I mean, you remember Kevin? He looked like he was chiseled out of stone. Before that was Kramer. He was kind of like a little bit in between. He was a pretty muscular dude, but he was, you know, kind of long. Nick is extremely long compared to both of them. So I think it's just a different look at that weight, you know, and he's just one of those kids, man. He doesn't care. You know, he goes out and wrestles anybody, and Hayden's the same way. And Hayden's just been, you know, dynamite for us. He's come through, told Garrett he's going to beat his pin record, so they got a little healthy competition going and kind of talking trash back and forth, so it's a good thing.
When talking about the size or length of a wrestler, what's the advantages or disadvantages for Mason and Braun to have that length?
Like you said, there's advantages and disadvantages. Nick and Hayden both can, they both scramble well. They both can, you know, overextend and get back to position, where like a shorter person might not be able to reach the leg. They're getting to it, and they might not be in the best position, but they recover. Disadvantages, obviously, your legs are longer. There's a lot more to attack. So, I mean, it's a plus and minus. They just have to be smart in certain situations.
Let's talk about your remaining schedule. It's quite the bear. You've got three duels. They're all ranked in the top 25. Ashland at 4, Findlay at 18th, and Lake Erie at 23 in the nation. We'll be having those live streamed your two home duels. Talk a little bit about that schedule that's left remaining for you.
Yeah, so we finished with some really tough competition heading into regionals. I think our guys are pretty healthy for the most part. That's a key to this time of year. Obviously, all three of those teams that you mentioned, we all recruit against each other. We all we're always seem to be at the same places. We know most of the dudes on their teams, good kids, good coaches. It's always a fun rivalry with all of them. And then of course Finley, I was a roughneck myself, so that's always a fun duel. I like it a lot better when we win, obviously, but it's a great way to end the season, the regular season, and head into the postseason. I think we're trying to keep the Finley rivalry a protected last match thing. Sean and I have talked about that a couple times. So it's just a grinder. We know it's going to be tough. We know that those matches are going to be huge as far as seeding for the regional tournament. Between this weekend and then those three, it all comes down to those wins. So the next what would that be, 9 matches basically are going to kind of make and break the regional tournament for us.
Not only is it a good finish for you guys, but as you talked earlier, it's a good way for those wrestlers that may be on the fringe of rankings to it'll be a proving ground for them.
Absolutely. And between the teams, last year, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think Lake Erie, Finley, Ashland, and ourselves, we all finished in the top 15 in the country. We were the GLIAC together, right? And some teams left or whatever, and we're making that transition. But the 4 of us have always predominantly been pretty tough since I've been here, and it's kind of impressive that 4 schools in Ohio were top 15 in the country. That to me is says a lot about the state, a lot about the competition in-house, so to speak. So yeah, this is proving ground for sure.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time as always. Look forward to doing this next week. Best of luck down there in North Carolina.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If you'd like more information on Tiffin University Wrestling or Tiffin University Women's Wrestling, go to GoTiffinDragons.com.